The Return of the Hunters, also known as Hunters in the Snow, created in 1565, is one out of 6 panel paintings representing the seasons of the year, which are regarded as some of Pieter Bruegel's most influential pieces of his oeuvre. This idea of seasonal paintings is derived from illuminated manuscripts from the medieval period. This oil on wood, or specifically oil on oak panel painting by Pieter Bruegel, may seem like a secular work that uses naturalism to represent the season of winter for the common person, through the depiction of hunters, people using fire to cook, ice skating, and various individuals partaking in everyday life during the season. But when contemplated upon, can be seen to have a deeper allegorical message, implying man as powerless over the divine, and many as ignorant to this, displayed through careless skaters and people cutting living trees. Meanwhile, others are depicted experiencing food shortage and threat of fire. The Netherlandish painting, no longer in situ, now found in the Museum of Art History in Vienna, was created during the Renaissance period, and can be described as a genre scene, because on the surface it depicts everyday life from people during the cold months in Belgium. This landscape painting is provided to the viewer through a bird's eye view, typical of Bruegel's personal style. When looking at the painting, the viewer's primary focus is drawn to the foreground. This is due to the visual weight of the piece, as the figures in this area are both larger and more detailed or clearer, as well as closer to the front of the landscape. This section depicts returning hunters and the singeing of a pig. The hunters with their meat catch of a rabbit and the dog's posture with heads hung low is an iconography of the hardships of winter and has man as powerless over the natural conditions and the will of God. The composition includes smaller objects in the distance relative to the foreground, and a downward sloped hill providing depth to the painting. Linear perspective in this painting draws the eyes outward into the middle and background, which display various minute details and narratives of everyday life in the winter time. The humans, dogs, buildings, and other humanly attributes of the painting are mostly painted using darker colors. This provides a contrast between the landscape and the people and structures. The primary use of cool colors throughout most of the painting and for the actual landscape, like light greens and light blues as well as white, allow for a sense of cold to be sensed by the viewer. The use of these colors is also an important aspect as it allows for an atmospheric perspective. Through the technique of creating haziness and the use of soft transition lines allowed by the flexibility of oil paint, as well as the bluish colors used, the middle ground and especially background surrounding the vanishing point provide the further sense of realistic depth, almost taking the viewer's eyes on a journey, just like we can assume the hunters depicted in the painting have also just experienced.